question and answer session. At the beginning, as I promised in the morning, I will try to give a briefing about the morning Dhamma talk in English. As far as the references are concerned, I quoted one particular discourse from the Sutta Nipata, one of the books belongs to the Sutta Pitaka. It is about the shedding of the skin of the snakes. Whenever they are evolving, not evolving, that metamorphosis happens, they are shedding off their own worn out skin. So this Buddha has taken as an example, and it's a number of stanzas. Each one is separated one different subject. And the first one we had, it was basically about the wrath or the hatred. And if I am to do a literal translation of that stanza, the Buddha mentioned that if one can remove one's own wrath or the hatred, just like removing of a venom of a serpent by putting antivenom, that particular person is quite free of his all the deep-rooted pains and the deep-rooted defilements. So therefore, general instruction is to, one must try to restrain, one must try to control one's own wrath. So, usually in the Buddhist way, we know our minds are defiled basically with the three main defilements known as the desire, hatred and the ignorance. So therefore in the normal presentation, first one has to deal with the desire and then the hatred and the last is the ignorance, but this particular chapter directly starting with the hatred. So therefore some of the commentators, they say this is addressing to the some of the mainly about not the beginners, those who have gone a little further. That is why it is not starting directly with the desire. And so this is something to be considered. So that is, I try to relate it this way. As far as we are not concerned about any kind of spirituality, any kind of general action or restraint regarding the virtues, restraint regarding or practice regarding the concentration or wisdom, usually the bondage, usually the defilement is, or prevailing defilement is the desire, but the strange relationship is there. Whenever you try to become virtuous, whenever you try to become generous, or in the sense we can say, whenever you try to develop mindfulness, there are some kind of internal changes going to take place in general in one's psychology. One person put it in this way, as and when you are going to introduce mindfulness and going to restrain, not going to restrain, whatever may be, when you are going to develop the mindfulness, there's a kind of irritability arises within one's psychology. And unsatisfactoriness, fault finding and pedantic nature arises. So generally it is kind of negative feelings arises, and therefore more than when you've taken up the exercise or this training of mindfulness, once you introduce the mindfulness, many things appear irritation, many things appear disturbing, so therefore irritability increases. Or fault finding. You find my mindfulness is not developing because of the fault of him or fault of that. So it happens. Another thing is that often you find my mindfulness is not growing fast, so you feel kind of a dissatisfaction and you feel like putting everything into order, like pedantic kind of thing. So therefore one has to really observant, self-critical kind of observation must be there by controlling this side, one another side will be vulnerable. So this may be the basic message that when you keep on practicing, these kind of features arises. So one thing is your mindfulness itself should have the ability to see yourself as if you are looking from outsider's point of view. Second thing is, knowing this character, you must have spiritual friends, or you must have noble friends, so they can understand, they can direct you, they can tell you while practicing these kind of things happen. Therefore, do not try to accelerate or do not try to go on for a result-finding kind of method. Do it in a balanced manner so that mindfulness will catch the momentum. So as and when develop, this kind of irritability can arise. So sometimes the family problem arises. Sometimes at the working place problem arises. Sometimes internally within the psychology itself is arising. So therefore when we are practicing like that, association with the noble friends is important. Otherwise by itself you can't understand because it happened as a perversion. It is not direct you can understand. So mostly happening in an indirect way. So therefore association with the friends and otherwise going prepared with this kind of is very important for a spiritual life. So it's that is what the idea, that is what the instructions or hint we can get from this particular stanza. That is what I would like to relate here now as the summary of the morning talks too. And as the question and answers are concerned, there are written questions. So as I promised morning, if the question arising in English medium, I will deal it in English. And if it is arising written or presented in singular, I will try to deal it in singular. The first one is in English. Thank you very much for bringing my journey to the present feeling of space and happiness. It will practice throughout my life. Thank you for the guidance. So it's a kind of appreciation, no much of a thing to discuss as such. I don't think there's such a request. Most venerable, I find it very easy to go, the venerable say, I find it is very easy to focus on my breath while doing walking meditation. But I am not too sure whether it is a good practice. Appreciate your comments. So this is anyway a good sign, because when you are doing walking meditation, basically you are supposed to keep your attention with the steps, right step, left step, or the right leg, left leg like. But when the mind falls calm and quiet on the particular object, specifically speaking the right and the left, sometimes the breath itself becomes prominent, and you feel like, why not go with the breath just like in sitting meditation. So it indicates now focusing is happening. But anyway, it is, even that is happening, even it's a natural happening, you must never start walking meditation with the breathing. When you give the attention to the steps, and while you are going on, while the steps are taking place in the somewhat mechanical way, if the breathing is going to come, never mind. Easily you can go into the breath and let it happen. When and where it becomes disturbance or turbulent or difficulty, you must understand the refuge is still there. That means going back to the right leg, left leg, right leg, left leg. So therefore at the beginning you must not go to the breath. You start with the right and left. And while going on, if it is naturally coming, well and good. You can go into that. Yet another example to cite, for example, if you are taking a seat in a vehicle for a long journey, and if you happen to get a comfortable seat, at the beginning what you have to give is the attention to your sitting posture. You sit and then try to contemplate on sitting or touching. And naturally, just like sitting on a meditation posture, if the breath is going to come, okay. But whatever may be, at the beginning you have to give the sitting posture at the starting point, and then let the meditative mind, noting mind, to go in search or present or face to face with the breath, then it happens. But you are not usually going to start with the breath. As far as sitting is concerned, yes, in the meditation center, in the sitting posture. All the other postures, you give the attention to the posture. And when the mind falls calm and quiet on the posture, it's a good sign. And then naturally the posture will be maintained intact. Meanwhile, the breathing naturally comes face to face, then you can go with the breathing. When and where it is become disturbed, you can come back to the starting posture. So therefore, that is recommendable, but don't go in search of the breath. If it is naturally happening, no harm. Whenever, even though I have stopped reacting verbally and physically, when someone blames me unjustly, the pain or the hurtful feeling linger in my mind for a while. Could you please explain how to keep my emotions in balance or to experience in such situations? So that indicates on principles, this question is accepting non-reaction, verbally and physically is good, and it is possible also. But now the third layer, that is mentally, at the mind level, still you can see, the mind is still reacting, though it is not manifested verbally or physically. So this is a good kind of observation. And this second thing is, if we are to take the pain or irritation in three phases, the beginning, the middle and end, this indicates now beginning part is finished. Now he or she is talking about the middle of the pain, middle of the irritation, and so they are as and when it comes to the middle, intensity increases, and they are wrestling and fighting with the mind, and therefore one can be happy. Now I accept on principle, and I have been successful in the handling of the early part of the irritation, early part of the pain, early part of the reaction, but now in the middle. So therefore, may be prepared, and when and where you be patient, endurance in the middle also, then only you can see the cessation. Then only you can see the end of it. End is always satisfactory, always bring the mind to the contentment. So therefore, while we are going in the middle, is the real wrestling happen. And that is happening usually in the mental level. Two strategies you can understand. One thing is stopping at the early stage, or be prepared for the middle age or middle area of the pain, and then only you can see the beginning, middle and end. So therefore this pain or reaction or irritation, just like any other thing, one has to theoretically understand the three phases are there, the beginning, the middle and the end. If you are unmindfully, or if you are not radically reflecting upon as and when it arises, you are too late. That we, in meditation jargon, we say is negligent. If you are diligent, as and when it arises, you can understand, then it stops then and there. But the course is very hard and very strong, and if you are delayed or if you are negligent, then the pain or reaction take the upper hand, you succumb to the situation, there the wrestling is there. But that is the way you are really understanding the nature. So therefore, this is a good kind of exercise. By practicing again and again, you develop the ways and means how to tackle that kind of thing, because within a day, this happens 101 times. Whenever you meet a person who do not likes to be meeting with another kind of unforeseen criticisms and kind of thing happen, if you are little veteran experience, you can maintain the balance in the early part. The middle is the problem. That is, if you go prepared, that will be a real exercise, a real challenge. And the particular cause, as mentioned in the question, blames me unjustly. If someone is blaming unfounded, unjust way, if we are not be prepared, but you get engaged much with the reacting or retaliation and kind of thing, then you might become other-directed and fragmented. Very difficult for you to see the irritation as such, see the pain as such. But if you knowing that he or she gives a kind of a chance for me to irritation arise, now my chance, my observation must be to observe not the unjust blame, but how the beginning, the middle and the end of the irritation. So when that happens, that particular person, the reaction and the retaliation to that particular person is out, observing your secondary reaction in terms of the irritation. So the Buddha, giving the theoretical answer, he says that when you are sitting, usually or often you get painful feelings, it is natural. And when and where the painful feeling happens, automatically the reaction arises. Automatically the hate arises. How can I get rid of this pain? On that occasion, Buddha put it in normally it is when there is a prick or dart going to prick in your skin, he says that is somewhat bearable, somewhat manageable. If the second dart, second prick going to happen in the same place, then only unbearability happen. That means the first prick, the first dart is the pain, second is the irritation, the hatred upon that. Then only you lose the control. The first one is the cause, the naturally arising irritation or pain is the effect. So your mind gets mixed up with the cause and effect, but if you understand this is the cause, this is the effect we can easily understand, the reaction, and your responsibility, your moral responsibility is never related to the cause, it is completely relating onto the, depending on the effect. So therefore, you have to take care about your reaction. Then you are safe. Then you are protected. Otherwise, if you do not understand this principle, you think the particular pain is the real disadvantageous cause. That is what you have to remove, so you will search about the comfort and all the kind of thing. But the Buddha after exploring and understanding he says, the pains or sometimes pleasure can happen, but automatically happening, coming irritation or desire for that pleasurable feeling is something that you can deal with. That is the area your mindfulness is aiming at. That is the part you are going to restrain in terms of morality, concentration and wisdom. So therefore, in other words, you can say our accumulation of karmic forces or thing happen according to our intentions, according to our will. So therefore, first the pain happen or unjust blame happens, it is not our intentional thing, it is something given. It is something happening. So you are not responsible for that. It is completely impromptu happens. Only you have to take care about it, how you deal with it, how you react to it, how you assume it. And that is the part you have to separate the cause and the effect and take care about the effect, so much so you are protected. So that is how the mindfulness is going to help you. So in more and more you develop, your threshold value, your resistance, your tolerance increases. Even someone is going to come and irritate you, you are not irritable. It becomes because you go prepared. So that is how, otherwise we can't stop or we can't get rid of this suffering. Only what we can do is increase our tolerance level, increase our resistance level, and therefore non-reaction, unassuming way, you see the beginning, the middle and the end of the unjust action or the pain or anything happens. So then you can understand whether it's small or big, whether it's pleasurable or painful, everything happens. Whatever happens, have these three phases, the beginning, the middle and the end. If you can understand, or if you can be aware, if you can be mindful, right at the beginning, you are the winner. That is what we call the vigilance. That is what we call the mindfulness. That is what we call the diligence. If you are not prepared, what happens is that it grows very fast, and then you find it's very difficult to deal with. So nipping at the bud level is the answer. But for that, when it happens, you must have already prepared mindfulness, preparedness, and principally you have to understand all these emotions and things are happening in the three phases, the beginning, middle and the end. So you must have the kind of experimenting or researching idea to see the beginning, the middle and the end rather than the cause. Effect is the one you have to take responsibility. Also, in English medium, whenever say, if your future talks in this case, do not deal with how to tackle thoughts of vitakka and parita vitakka. During meditation, please explain how to subside thought that distract the meditator. So this is giving a topic to be discussed. That is about how the thinking process happens in the mind. According to the Buddhist teaching, the Buddha mentioned the way our mind is working. One being, one entity, male, female, has 6 faculties: the ear, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. So it's called ear do, eye do, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. So if you carefully observe or keep the surveillance to see, at a time we become a seer, next time we can be a hearer, and then the person smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. Is there any agenda as to I will be a hearer, I will try to I would like to be a hearer, or seer and kind of thing. Simply you will understand, not a single person have any agenda, it is jumping from one to the other. So Buddha mentioned it is a monkey mind. It's called mad monkey mind, jumping from one faculty to the other. At the moment you become a hearer, and again you can be a seer, and another be a person smelling, tasting, talking, touching. So therefore you have to understand, even though we wish to discipline our life, discipline our according to geography, physics, biology and all the kind of thing, basic situation there is no agenda. So very understanding of that is disheartening. That is why people wish not to meditate. They better to look at the cinema or picture or what you call the video or newspapers or radio. So they always have the extrovert hobbies and pastimes, and they spend any amount because it keeps away from you. Inside meditation is the only one, put the sight inwardly, introspection. Otherwise, we human beings are completely extrovert. And whole knowledge in the world is extrovert, except the inside knowledge. When and where you try to at least compare introvert and extrovert approach, more and more you give the attention to the introvert, you become so bankrupt, disheartening, discouraging, because mind has no any agenda. So ultimately, one take the refuge of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, something like in Buddhism, whatever may be, trying to discipline it, trying to put it into order. First and foremost is understanding the map, understanding the formula, understanding how it happens. We don't have patience with that is a problem. Because our mind is unruly, jumping from one to the other, don't have any agenda, no precursor you can understand, jumping. So therefore the Buddha says, after his experiment from the unknown time, he came to know, therefore he says, please listen. And I will give a thesis for you to test and put into practice. See whether it is provable or not. So therefore you must have a certain amount of theory understanding, otherwise the Buddha says, no one will think the introvertness is the way of liberation. Everyone is outwardly, they are learning this and that, thinking that economically, politically and socially will be liberated and will be satisfied or content. But not a human being, not a single person died satisfactorily, contentedly. Everyone happy died with a vacuum, with something lacking. And that is our parents, that's our grandparents, and we think we will achieve something, still be engaged in the extrovert. And that is what is challenging in the meditation. So knowing that, with Dhammajiva of the Buddha, if you look at it, look yourself, and take for example the breath. If you are supposed to look at the breath, that means you are opening the mind only to the body. Bodily tactile sensation, so you close your eyes, go to a silent place, don't smell, don't taste or don't talk by sitting, and open the mind. And then you can understand the monkey mind, jumping from pain, sounds, thinking, daydreaming, fantasizing, everything happens. So, if you are going to get irritated or discouraged in that my mind is very difficult to keep it, never you will achieve it. Therefore you have to understand the first and foremost result of the meditation is understanding that the monkey mind. Seeing the monkey mind under your very nose. Though it is something negative, though it is disheartening, this is the first and foremost thing because undeniably it happens under your very nose. It is not something given to you. It is not something imaginary. It is not something mind-made. So, jumping mind, the monkey mind, whenever it understands, you have to see, this is you experience, this is how you experience what the Buddha is saying. what the other meditators are telling. So therefore, not only meditation instructions enough. You have to have discussions with the other people, those who have kind of experience, and they will say, this is what each and everyone, even though we have different explanation and different facets. So first and foremost you see is the monkey mind, jumping mind. Never mind. You keep on, again it is as if you are going to balance a watermelon on the back of a running horse. You can't keep. Once you keep, it drops. Again you keep, it drops. So you keep on practicing. After a while, due to your endurance and listening, you may see few thought moments. 2, 3 in-breaths and out-breaths. You can keep the attention little while, mixed of thinking, pain, sounds and kind of thing. So there is a kind of a relationship up to the point you take effort, kind of a docile, kind of a taming of the mind happens. And keep on going. Early part is, in the English they say, painfully slow. When you are catching the momentum, early part is painfully slow. So it is not your mistake. It's a rather a good sign. You are not camouflaging yourself. It is not a mind-made thing. Really going through against the grain. So when you keep on doing, after a while you can understand midst of thoughts, midst of pain, sounds, still you can see the breath. Sometimes the breath is the more prominent thing and the thoughts are there, inner thoughts at the background or foreground. Sometimes thoughts are the prominent thing. Amidst of thought you can see the breathing also taking place at another depth. Sometimes the pains are there, still the in-breath and out-breath is there. Sometimes sounds coming, specifically the consistent sounds, but still you can see the breath is there. So that is a better situation. Breath is challenged, but even then you can see both. That means if you are comparing it to the drama, number of actors are there, but the role of the mindfulness also in the stage now. But it is not the main actor. But the breath is there somewhere. The mindfulness is a person who has the searchlight or spotlight. He is always fixing the spotlight to the primary object. All the other actors are there, but if you can focus the searchlight, the beam of the, how do you call not the searchlight I use, but spotlight. You can spot the breath, then you can see sometimes the breath is the main actor, but sometimes it is not the main actor. You are heavily thinking, but the breath is there in one corner. And sometimes the pains are there, but still the breath is there. Sometimes the sounds are there, breath is there. Over there you have adverting power. Adverting power means if you wish to give a highlight, you can focus the spotlight to the breath and keep the consistency. This is what we call vitakka, or adverting power. If you develop it, more and more challenge happen, more and more you become adventurous. You feel like, midst of everything, can I maintain the breath? For example, even if you are thinking, even if the pains are there, even the sounds are there, you are living. Living means you are breathing. That means due to the sounds, you are not keeping the breathing away and going to listen only the sound and come and take the breath. Even by listening, pain, breath is there. It's a given fact. So in the meditation, once you develop a little bit of mindfulness, you try to give the spotlight to the mindfulness. There you understand the adverting power. That adverting power is what we call vitakka. And Buddha has found disciplined mind, well-prepared mind, can make use of it. And now I am going to take another example. We are being invited to the buffet diet. the table is full-fledged. You have all the kind of food, all the kind of drinks. But you know, you can't eat whole table. You have to select. What you select is what you like. What you select is what you are going to taste. What you select is what you are going to sell. What you and what you eat is what's going to the stomach. And what you eat, what you are going to get the nutrients. If you are eating poisons, immediately you will die. If you are eating nutritious thing, it will be helpful. So therefore, you see, whole family go to the buffet. And the father is going to entertain only the alcohol. And then whole party is a mess. On the way back home, everyone blackguarding. This very particular person who served the table is very bad because he gave alcohol. But the mother may be taking some only sweets. Maybe she is having diabetes, and then she may say, I manage well at home, but I have been exposed to these sweet things, so I eat it. But the person who knows the good and bad can understand, table is full of everything. He can take only the healthy food, and he will say, no problem, that particular person is give a nice table, I took it. Likewise, many people can happen, but very easily you can understand that the person who served the table is innocent. You are the very person select what to eat. So therefore, whole samsara, whole this society is a buffet diet. You are the very person select. And that is what you digest, and then you come out and say, this is good, this is bad. This adverting power is the controlling unit. That is called vitaka. That means applying thoughts. Literally it is called applying thoughts. Not a single moment we have without variations. Not a single moment is only limited with only one variable. Whole samsara, whole moment, whole phenomena is 1001 combination, 1000 variables. Whatever we select is depending on our liking and disliking, our personality, our ego, all the kind of thing. So therefore, each and every moment is a new chance. Each and every moment is a new choice. But we are in a rut. You always select the same thing. That is how this is a sound. But if you know each and every moment we are facing a new buffet diet, if you are ready to change, or at least if you know the consequences of your past the habits, then you can get a new chance. And then the life becomes very, aesthetic, very green. You can change all the time. So therefore this adverting power decides, not the person who serves the table. Wherever you go, there you are. Whatever you see, there that you are. Ultimately, we are the people making our own life. We are the people making our own career. We are the people selecting everything, and ultimately we blackguard the government. We blackguard the climate, and we say the neighbor is the only culprit doing all the troubles to us. All the kind of thing. Because we are not taking responsibility about this, the adverting thoughts, that is called applying thoughts, but it is theoretically impossible to tackle. Unless otherwise see mindfulness, under the light of mindfulness, breathing also happen, pain also happen. How do you give the priority? I mean, in meditation what we do is, we take the breath as the primary object. So whenever equal chance, you have to give a priority to the primary object. But sometimes the thought is prominent, but still the breath is there, somewhere. So if you know breath is your solace, breath is your refuge, and leaving aside the thoughts and the pain, kind still if you hang around with the breath, you find consistency is increasing. It appears like breath is more face-to-face with you. You can go closer to the breath, and you can tell more natural characteristic of the breath. Ultimately, you are secure. That is the magic of the applying thoughts. And in quantum physics, they have come to such a crossroad. The applying thought has come to a critical point. In the quantum physics, they are cutting into the molecule into the atom into subparticles, quarks and kind of thing. Ultimately, they wanted to know what is the electronic, what is the positron, what is the proton, what is the quarks kind of thing. But they are in between particle and energies. They are usually considered as particles, but sometimes they appear like energies. If you say it is a particle, there's two characters. The speed and the mass, the weight. Now scientists are in such a crossroad. If you want to see the speed, never you can weigh the weight. If you are to weigh the weight, you can never understand the speed. They are happening in such a fast way. So therefore at the beginning you have to make your machine. I am not worried about the speed. I have to only see the weight of that particular quark. So definitely, therefore, he knows he is looking the particle with the conditioned mind. Not with the conditioned mind, conditioned machine. It is being geared to the weight. Because the weight and the speed cannot be observed at a time. So therefore, adverting your machine and focusing your mind is pre-decided. So therefore you go to the experiment, even though you are a scientist, you go with the premeditated idea, therefore what you see that you are, not the quark. The Buddha mentioned much earlier, whatever maybe you are going to ponder, that is happening because of your pre-decided selection. So therefore you are not really seeing it, you see your thoughts, you see your perception. You see your projections. So therefore, you have to observe if you are a real scientist with unconditional mind. So therefore, without mindfulness, whatever we are going to do, we can't say it is for the well-being of us. May or may not be. So therefore, even the technology, if it is developed, if it is come to a hand, untrained, unmindful, you don't know the harm you are going to do. So therefore, even not with such a luxury, even not with such a vast option, if you are mindful, definitely you can select what is good for your well-being. So therefore, adverting power, the applying thought is very important. But in our school curriculum, or in our constitution in the country, we are never thinking about it. It is happening only in the one dimension, here, now I am. Never happen in the social level. Never happen in the macro level. So that is why at a time we have to close your eyes and come there. And only it happens whenever you are focusing to the one particular thing for longer time. Breath, left and the right, rising and falling. But when you are observing, you can see our phenomena or given moment, never a single factor. So always a combination. Which one highlights depends on your likings and dislikes. To adverting power is the only one prick, pinpoint, this must be my primary object. This is my focus line. And it's a completely unpredictable monkey mind. And there you feel quite vulnerable. It's vulnerable. That is what the Buddha says, there is no soul. There is no governing power. There is no executing power. There is no predictability. It is such a vast changing thing. But he says nothing to worry, that is the way it was there in the beginning. By just understanding it is changing, you are not shattering off your career. You are not shattering off the country or nothing. That is what. If you are going to say, no, I am controlling myself, everything is under my control, and everything is I can govern, there is a point of all the appointments are leading to disappointments. So therefore, best thing is to have an appointment with the disappointments. You will never get disappointed. It appears like very nihilistic. It appears like something negative. It will be like destructive. If this is the truth, that's the point. You have to decide. It's an individual decision. If you know everything can be planned, everything can be organized, and I am doing, and I did, and I got to success, like kind of thing, then you will never take this kind of a practice and see things are depending on number of variables. By controlling one only, you will understand all the gamut of balance is uncontrolled, not under control. Therefore, how can we predict such a permanence? Understanding impermanent, you are preparing yourself for the suffering. Because what you are going to plan, what you are going to appoint it, no assurance, may or may not be. So therefore this adverting power, or vitakka, very important in understanding how the mind selects the priority. For the moment, in the sense that non-meditators, those who have no mindfulness, it's completely unruly. No map, no formula we know. Meditators, they know it is unruly. That's the only understanding meditators. That unruliness is the one in three facets. It is impermanent, which is suffering, it is non-self. Later you can see all the details, you can see the bird's eye view of the map. At the beginning, you have to understand this adverting power. The searchlight or spotlight is in the hand, uncontrolled, untrained. So therefore you don't know where the focus is going. It's like we are in a dream. So even though we say we are living, the Buddha says you are just trying to live. You are not living. The moment you live is you understand, I have given the helm to an untrained mind, untrained situation, so you don't know where the ship is going. Each and every moment it is assimilating, manifesting in and there. To come to the source, if at all to have any kind of understanding, you must find the vitakka vichara. The adverting mind is the point. If you have to nip it at the bud, that is one of the basic things you have to understand. Unlike anger, being friendly with thoughts or accepting them will develop into the stones or stories or dramas. That means not like anger, being friendly with thoughts or accepting them will develop them into the stories and dramas. And the question says accepting them. That means becoming succumb to the thoughts. Ultimately thoughts become chain thoughts, train thoughts, and contentment happens. But if you see thoughts as thoughts, they appear like fragments, not connected to each other, no message. When they become accepted and welcome, and then immediately become hooked each other, like a train, and then the content happens. And then you become succumb to the content. So if you are mindful, you can understand everywhere, anytime, the basic material, raw materials are there for thoughts to arise. But they are not hooked up, they are not trained thought, they are not chained thoughts, so they have power, no much of power. Whenever you are unmindful and accept them, they become a train, they become a chain. And then only it carries a message, otherwise there is no message. So it is, most of the people understand it in walking meditation, while in the walking you can see, you are on the left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg, and meanwhile you can understand some kind of a thinking also going to take place. So then you are in a, this is happening when you are practicing little consistently, then you are not sure, am I mindful directly on the steps or am I thinking? Under such bifold situation, if you are going to give the attention to the thoughts, immediately the left step, right step disappear, thinking happens, the content happens, and you can say, this is the thought I had. But instead, if you are going to say, never mind the thoughts, I am going to give the full attention to the left and the right, thoughts disappear. You can see the left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. So once you understand it, you bring the same training to the sitting, you can see breath also there, thoughts also there. If you are going to dishearten and whatever the meditation I am going to do, thoughts are coming like, let me thought get upper hand, they will give a message and come and engulf you. Instead you say, thoughts is part and parcel of the mind. Nothing to worry, as far as the breath is there, I will keep myself with the breath, then thought will be aborted. They will be disappeared, they become just fragmented. There is no proper shape, there is no proper trained thoughts, so there you can understand nipping at the back. It is called background thoughts or foreground thoughts. But you can't expect the mind completely free from thoughts. You can't expect the mind completely free from sounds, completely from noise, pains. Your art is, your skill is, the midst of all the kinds of, can I maintain the inverted or right and the left? Then you become immunized, as if that if you are going to go to a place, it is epidemically with some kind of a disease, some diseases you can get the vaccine. After getting the vaccine, you can go there, you know, you are not getting infested. You have the confidence. Likewise, if you understand in the meditation, my basic security, basic protection is with the mindfulness of the primary object as much as possible. Once you try to maximize the mindfulness of the primary object, you feel at home. That means you can claim, here now I am. That is how you try to keep all the malice, all the defilements at bay. And still you maximize the primary object. This is, I definitely say, this is experience of fairly established mindfulness. Yogis with established mindfulness. So it is ever evolving, ever evolving. The third part, it says, my thought cannot be directly related to the sense pleasure or anger. Still they make their present from the time to time and disturb the continuous state with the meditation object. Please help. So this is what that best example given when I was in Burma. The master was, that under Sri Lankan situation, the fishermen take tepam. Tepam, I don't know how to put it in English. It's a wooden craft, and two people going into the sea, and it's made out of wood. Fishing boats. Yeah. It's an English term. Yeah. But maybe the embarkation is a hell of a task. So therefore, when you are going to go into the sea, there is one elderly person who understands the waves. So therefore, every young people seek the help of that elderly people. He says, just right, because he says, I don't know, that's what I have heard, after 7 big waves, there's a calm, one wave comes. He is going to make you that calm wave. So therefore he is counting waves. And he is signaling the others, don't embark till I give the signal. So when and where he gave the signal, about 15 people pushing the raft perpendicular to the wave. And now the light wave is happening, so they push as much as possible up to their neck level. And the people, those who are going to go to the sea climbing, others are coming back. Now the boat, the raft is fairly in the water, but the water is very violent at the seashore, not right in the middle. So the two getting to that must expect the next wave is high, but fairly in the middle, they start rowing and keep the perpendicular to the wave coming. And more you go there, waves also become tamed and the trip is easier. So at the beginning, 15 people has to go there, proper timing must be there, then the embarkation happens, immediately you have to keep on rowing and going. So therefore, the thoughts also like that, So always thoughts are there. You can't expect the mind without thoughts. It's called that mind and the thought, just like the sea and the waves. You can't expect a sea without waves. So therefore, if you expect by meditating you are going to have a completely thoughtless mind, that you are dreaming. So that is theoretical things you are expecting. But you have to understand it, whenever thoughts are less, embark a primary object, start moving, go as much as possible into the middle, and then you are safe. Because the waves are very rugged, waves are very powerful, and the thin waters. Waves are usually, by nature, even the tsunami, is very destructive when the water level is thin. But when it's very high, if you are in a deep sea in the ship, you can't feel tsunami. So likewise, when you go into that, thoughts are there, never mind. We are in the sea is in the waves. But still go perpendicular, don't go cross, then you will topple. And when you go on, no problem. If you are expecting any thoughtless idea, that is where you get missed. You miss the bus. So therefore, get a better chance whenever your mind and the body is yielding. Start with the primary object. Don't leave the primary. Keep on rowing. That means noting if it's possible. You say in, out, like you can mentally note. Or you can say in, out, in, out. So that is like rowing, then you can go with it. And when you go there to the middle, thoughts are there, but nothing to worry. So therefore, the last question is, of course, it's a race in a good way. It is, my thoughts cannot be directly related to the sense, pleasure or anger. They are neutral thoughts. In meditation, jargon, we use inert thoughts. Inert means no good or bad. No senses. Inert, therefore, it is a character, it's a sign that you are living. If the thought stops, you have to say sorry, finished. No meditation, person died. So you can't expect the thing, thoughtless mind, that means you are expecting a death. What you have to do is, learn the art of the thought, how to make use it. You have to go to the sea, and when you are going to the sea, expect a better situation and go cut across. And ultimately you will find a mix of the thoughts, still you can manage. You can manage the primary object, a mix of the sounds, mix of the pains. You can manage, there only you develop the resistance. Otherwise, if you are waiting till the thoughts to stop, it never happens. Even after the enlightenment of the Buddha, he experienced thoughts. And it was something malice. You won't consider it as malice, because of the Buddha it was malice. One day he was in a very secluded place, and automatically his mind went to the economics. And he told see the distribution of assets in the world. And economic we are taught with the Lorentz curve. Little people get high amount, and majority goes less. And second thought he came to the Buddha, if the rulers and the kings are just, they must only pay the attention to the even distribution of the assets. Then this is enough. Assets are enough. Of course, the present day, all the grains we are producing is well enough for the human beings. You know what happens? About 5% eaten by rats, 40% used for alcohol, and some others are dumping into the water in order to keep the supply and demand. Price is high. That is why we are suffering. I mean, we are not suffering. We know a lot of people are suffering. They go to the night without a dinner. Many people. It is not due to the lack. It is due to our craziness. So it's a completely controlled thing. The curve is the saggy curve. It is not a straight curve. So when immediately it happens, as the story goes, in religion we have the Mara, is something like the Satan. in the Bible. The evil spirit. Evil spirit come and say, that is why I told you that even if you can become a king now, I will come and help you. How many bridges we can make? How many wells we can dig? How come big thing you can have done? That is why I am telling becoming a monk is bad. So I also welcome. Why don't you go and do good sound economic program? So immediately Buddha comes to know, who is that is going to help me? Question and ask, are you the evil spirit? Then and there it disappears. If such a person comes, you will be really hugging and taking for the economic development. But for the Buddha, his primary aim is not the economic development. He knows who is going to help this economic development is nothing but the evil spirit. So that indicates that time he had kind of a thinking. The thought occurs. And when and where he is going to consider it as a benevolent and the wisdom-wise, the Maha get the chance. The evil spirit get the chance. So immediately to understand the evil as evil disappears. So therefore, you got me in that when I was in Nilambe and the layperson, he interprets. Understanding this monkey mind, understanding in thinking mind is the first and foremost result of the meditation. Not the Sovan, not the Sakadagami, not the Anagami. Understanding my mind is such, because it is the truth. It is happening under your very nose, though it is discouraging, though it is disheartening. This is what the meditators are doing. That is why people are feeding meditators, telling you are doing a good job. What else? You are going against the grain. It is not the encouraging thing. But the encouragement are there at the beginning, just like an embarkation of a little raft. Very difficult, painfully slow. Because your image of the better meditation, good meditation, and is completely a mind-made thing. It's a dream world. And Buddha is cutting through and telling you, this is things as they are. Acceptance is the difficult. But we have done things for whole life. But to see things as they are is, we are hesitant, we are compromising. Is it disheartening, or it is nihilistic, it is destructive and going against the self and kind of. That is quite the difficulty. So today no English questions, only English. Almost, yes.
Sir, for helping others, I recall you mentioned this morning that you don't help anybody unless it is asked for. I would like to know what exactly the message of the Dhamma is about that.
That means hating others.
No,
helping others.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Not within you.
Yeah.
You wait until the person asks for help, or you provide volunteer help someone. So like we understand.
So it is.
Only in a retreat. That's what you said.
No. It's a good question. It's a good question. Everyone has to learn this lesson. And this is mind your own business. Simply. How the situation happened was, you can take seat please. During the time of the Buddha, it occurred many people are helping others. And ultimately they are not really qualified to help. But they assume we are qualified by their assumption and go and help, ultimately no leading to the good results. The example Buddha given is, if a huge number of people are get bogged down in the boggy place, and everyone see other people is about to drown. So you feel driven by the emotion, and you try to help others, but one, two are going to help, what happens? You get drowned. So Buddha mentioned, if you have any kind of a permanent, compassionate idea, mind your own business and go to a dry place yourself first. Establish yourself and get other person as much as possible. The wisdom must be followed. Wisdom must be the forerunner. Compassion must follow. Compassion won't help. So therefore, you have to understand, am I qualified to help others? not by emotion. Because each and every profession has qualifications. So when explaining that shadow, who Pandit Ahi told, we know a lot of diseases are there. And of course, when you go to the pharmacy, by reading the description, you know which disease, what are the side effects and all the kind of things. So you can say, why not? I can go and help her because she is having such symptoms. Pharmacy has the drugs, all the descriptions are there. I can prescribe and go ahead. No problem. But you know what is the authority going to know it? They will abduct you telling that you are not qualified to prescribe such a thing because for that you have to undergo 5 years of medical course. You have to be qualified for the doctor. Just mere compassion to the suffering person and the knowledge won't help. So therefore, first of all you have to understand, am I really moved by the suffering world? If it is so, mind your own business, get your medical degree first. And then go there. Not by the compassion. So therefore, in that sense, it is as opportunists. Jumping and helping others means you are emotionally you can justify it, but the wisdom-wise, you are opportunists. You are not qualified to do that. But the other one is, once you become qualified and not helping that is called selfishness. So Buddha showed us, he is not selfish, not opportunist. He tried so much of time to qualify himself. That was even the last life, 35 years. And once qualified, 100% service. This is the answer. So therefore, when and where you are going to help, when and where you are going to be compassionate, of course, more emotionally we get moved. But you have to ask yourself, am I qualified to help such a situation? Wait and see. And then you will find most of the time you have vested interest. That is malice. That is called opportunities. And that is why the religion has done such a bad thing to the humankind. All the religions is, people are barbaric, and they have to take into the place of our teacher, and therefore as far as you are living in the barbaric, whatever the mission in your mind, we have to convince you. And the Holy Ghost and all the kind of thing. But the religions are basically meant for the well-being of the being. But you see the history. In everything they justify themselves saying, we are making people convinced by the sword or by anything. So that is not appreciated. In the Buddhist way, mind your own business. It is very hard thing to say. No one will buy it. Everyone says, never mind, if you are going to get qualified ourselves, we will not help others, therefore why not help others, leaving yourself vulnerable. Therefore, the Theravada tradition is basically criticized as selfish. That selfishness is, we are trying ourselves to be qualified. Then definitely you have to full-fledged go and help people. Up to the qualification. The best qualified person is the Buddha, because he has the omniscient knowledge, and then he completely gave the four vilas and kind of thing. So without that, you can jump into that. It is like the grasshoppers jumping into the fire. It's very beautiful. It's a golden color. You jump it. Once you jump it, what happens is, part and parcel it will burn, but you can't prevent it. Still it is with the left limbs, it's jumping again and again to the fire. So therefore, make yourself comfortable, qualified. So that is rather explained through the wisdom, not with the compassion. So balancing of the wisdom and the compassion is a very, very, subtle thing. And it is a completely impersonal thing. It's the beauty of the world. When and where you find these two balance, no friction. The power line is very straight. Least frictional path arises. Anything you do with the compassion is awkward path. The adjustments and the alignments are not aligned, so wear and tear is too much. That's why today, many people they self-suggest, with the vested interest, do many, many things. So therefore, that's why she wanted to say that at least at the meditation centers or meditation retreats, we must mind our own business and try to understand, are we qualified to sympathize someone or to take care about someone? As your question comes, if someone come and ask, definitely you have no other way, you have to go and help, because it is an invitation or demand. Then you have no measure, no chance to say, I am not qualified like that, because it is bad. But I am talking about vested interest, or presenting yourself as a person, benevolence and kind of thing, without considering your own qualifications. That is the dangerous game. And the present day meditation is such a thing. All the meditation masters, they qualified themselves. I don't know whether they are leading people or misleading people. When you go to a country like Sri Lanka, you can see many traditions. Each and everyone has so much of followers. Ultimately, no trend. Everything is in a chaotic situation. So if you keep the cart before the horse, you know what is the trick. If the horse before the cart, then there is a trick. So therefore, each and every time when we are dealing with others, with our own initiative, as specifically mentioned, to understand, am I qualified to do this? You are safe if the invitation comes. You are safe if someone coming and says, why don't you do it? Then you have to do outright. Otherwise, simply, yes, last time when I go to the Sarasota, Nissarana temple, the last thing I was, be mindful, mind your own business. This is the end close. Be mindful as much as possible and mind your own business. Don't try to go fingers with the others, telling he deserves sympathy, help and kind of thing. No one can save you. So it is something like in Sri Lanka we see the horoscope before doing some auspicious thing. So in this case, you have to check the horoscope through the mindfulness. Am I qualified to do this? Otherwise you surrender that, I am sorry, I don't know. We can't. That no one can challenge you. So therefore it's a good question. Maybe too early in the retreat you are raising the question. If you are raising it at the 8th day or 9th day, will be understood better. At the beginner or late, the fact is the fact. I am not of course antagonizing or by quoting other people. One day, Pandita Thero, he is coming back from the foreign trip, and he has met yet another religious master at the airport. He is another language, he can't speak English, and he has a translator. Sayadaw also in the Burmese, he can't speak English, translator. And ultimately, waiting for 1 or 2 hours, each other start talking. And then the other person has mentioned, that what I do is, I do as much as helping other people, welfare of the other people, and that is my mission. And Sayadaw has not tried to explain the mindfulness. He has just kept it. Then he asked, what I do then? He says, I am telling, prescribing, always mindfulness. What do you mean mindfulness? Mindfulness is be here and now. So he has told, that is why that kind of thing will never be popular subject. And therefore that such a thing is not the thing we need in the world. We need something applicable to the whole population, the whole community. Therefore I am talking about the compassion and well-being. So Sayadaw has mentioned, the Buddha has given that example. We are in a boggy place and everyone is sunk, already gone there. Can such a person help others? First and foremost is you have to first go to the dry land and then help as much as others. That is what I am telling. That is what I am doing. That is what I am prescribing. So then there are no more discussion. So this is in the spiritual sphere, very, very vulnerable. Many people qualify themselves and ultimately make projects, go ahead, ultimately come and say, whatever the good thing we are going to do, people are antagonizing us. They are not appreciating us. And so much of problems like. But if you see the credentials, they are not qualified to do that. I am not telling that to get the full-fledged qualification and do. And they have to understand up to the qualification, what you do, get the results. Whenever you tread past your jurisdiction and go to the other place and go into project and all the kind of thing, no security, no assurance. The Puthujjana, the commoners, the only person, he do not know the limits. He has certain limits, certain capacity. So they, I get the momentum, they tread past the limit and they assume, up to much it was good, so therefore projections also must be good. Then you don't know where you are going to lose the control. That is what we need, the advisors and the helpers and those who criticize us, not in the destructive way, and the mindfulness as the reflector, always we must have when we are dealing with other people and doing this kind of thing. Otherwise, end result is a discouragement. Anyway, we have done 20 minutes over time. Of course, if there are no questions, I would suggest to mark the end of this session. What we do is that after spending the whole day on the spiritual things, we share our merits with all the seen and unseen beings, share with our relatives, and sharpen our objective and reminding our objectives. With that idea, we are majority Sri Lankan, everyone knows that we are little use stanzas, and the main idea is, may all seen and unseen beings rejoice our merits, the skillfulness. May our relatives see this and say, well, and then appreciate it. May all these merits be directed to understanding the truth in this very life, not for anything. With that idea, we will recite the stanzas. Ettavata janammehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbi diva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata janammehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbi bhuta sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata janammehi sambatam punya sampadam sabbi satta anumodantu siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chiram rakkantu sasanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chiram rakkantu desanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chiram rakkantu mam param. Idam vo jnatinam hotu sukhita vantu jnatayo. Idam vo jnatinam hotu sukhita vantu jnatayo. Idam vo jnatinam hotu sukhita vantu jnatayo. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamu satam samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamu satam samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamu satam samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.